The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. Author, Jin Yong. Chapter 2 Part B. Zhu Yuan continued, your chi is like a wheel, rotating through your entire body, if not your body will be dispersed and converse. This illness is caused by waist and leg. Guoxiong knew for sure that he was reciting martial art theories and thought, Reverend Zhu Yuan didn't learn martial arts but he read almost every scripture he could find. And 3 years ago he said that in the handwritten Lankavatara Sutra of Master Demo, there was another codex, namely, Zhu Yang Zheng Jing. He thought its purpose was to stay healthy and strong and learnt the essence from it. Both he and his pupil didn't have someone to teach them, but somehow he reached the same level as the other top martial arts experts of the realm. I could remember clearly that when Xiao Xiongzi struck him, Xiao Xiongzi was injured himself. I doubt that even Brother Yang and my father can do something like that. And today, they managed to defeat He Tzu Dao, thanks to Zhu Yang Zhen Jing. He must be reciting that, Zhu Yang Zhen Jing, at the moment. She sat up and started paying attention and remained quiet. She was afraid to disturb him. She was memorizing every word Zhu Yuan said and thought, if it is Zhu Yang Zhen Jing, it must be excellent and profound. I will memorize what he says and ask him tomorrow if he can explain it. Zhu Yuan recited, first use your heart to enable your body. Start from other people, do not start yourself. The back of your body can now start from the heart. Because you remain the same and people start first. Let your opponent attack first, and follow his movements. If he doesn't move, you don't move. If he moves a bit you move too. Guoxiong thought, this is wrong, my parents always taught me that in a battle you have to strike first before being struck. Reverend Zhu Yuan is wrong here. Guoxiong was confused, she was always taught to strike first, be quicker than your opponent. And Zhu Yuan's theory was the opposite of what she learned, and she thought, in a fight you cannot really stand still and let your opponent be leading the fight. Because of this confusion she missed a part. She saw that Zhang Junbao sat there listening carefully. Guoxiong thought, no matter whether he's wrong or right. This old monk was able to injure Xiao Xiongzi and defeat He Tzu Dao, I saw this myself. So his martial arts theories must be good. For both theories something can be said. You can't say that what Guo Jing taught Guoxiong was wrong. It depends on the level and the user. Zhu Yang is not superior to Zhu Yin. Zhu Yuan continued to recite, and sometimes he would recite a piece from the Lankavatara Sutra. Zhu Yang Zhen Jing was written inside the Lankavatara Sutra. Zhu Yuan recited some parts in Indian, causing Guoxiong to be quite confused. Fortunately, Guoxiong was a very intelligent girl and still managed to memorize 20 to 30% of everything. Zhu Yuan continued to recite, his voice became lower and unclear. Guoxiong said, rest for a while, you've been exhausted. But Zhu Yuan continued to recite, borrow your strength from your opponent, your chi must be drawn from your spine. How to draw chi from your spine? Your chi lowers, and bend your shoulders to the back, concentrate on your waist. This chi will come from above and go down. Meaning the chi is unified. Unifying means taking in, opening means releasing. If you understand opening and unifying, you'll understand yin and yang. After reciting to this part, Zhu Yuan's voice softly ended and it seemed he fell into a deep sleep. It was becoming dawn, Zhu Yuan was still sleeping and he had a smile on his face. Zhang Junbao raised his head and saw a grey shadow appearing from the tree. This shadow wore a yellow kasaya. He was startled and said, who's there? A tall, skinny, old monk appeared. It was the head of the Luo Han Hall, Reverend Wu Sei. Guoxiong was startled and happy to see him and said, why do you keep pursuing them? Must you really capture them and bring them back to Shaolin? Wu Sei said, I know the difference between right and wrong. If I'm really an upholder of ancient rules and traditions I would have captured them last night and wouldn't wait till now. Brother Zhu Yuan, Brother Wu Xiang is leading the disciples of the Demo Hall to the east. Quickly, go to the west. Zhu Yuan was still sitting and had his eyes closed. Zhang Junbao walked up and said, Master, wake up. The elder of the Luo Han Hall is talking to you. Zhu Yuan was still sitting there. Zhang Junbao became frightened and touched his face. Zhu Yuan was cold, he passed away some time ago. Zhang Junbao was devastated and cried, Master, Master. But Zhu Yuan will never wake up again. Wuxia put his palms together and recited a Buddhist scripture and left. Zhang Junbao was crying, and Guoxiong was crying too. When the monks of Shaolin die, it was a custom to cremate them. So Guoxiong and Zhang Junbao collected some wood and cremated Zhu Yuan's body. Guoxiong spoke to Zhang Junbao, "Brother Zhang, the Shaolin monks will not easily let you off. You must be very careful. Our paths will now part. I hope to see again in the future." Zhang Junbao was still crying and asked, "Miss Guo, where will you be going? Where shall I go?" Guoxiong felt sad after hearing his question. "I shall travel to the ends of the world if I have to. I, myself do not know where I'm going. Brother Zhang, you're still young and don't have any experience in Wulin matters. Furthermore, the Shaolin monks are still looking for you." She removed a golden bracelet from her wrist and gave it to Zhang Junbao and said, "Take this bracelet and go to Xiangyang to see my parents. They will treat you warmly. And if you're with my parents, those Shaolin monks will think twice before trying to capture you." Zhang Junbao was in tears and took the bracelet. Guoxiong said, "Tell my parents that I'm alright and tell them not to worry. My father likes heroic youngsters. If he sees that you're such a talented man, he'll probably accept you as his pupil. My younger brother is a friendly, honest person, you will like him. But my older sister has a bad temper, she'll scold anyone for the slightest matter and doesn't consider the feelings of other people. Just try to put up with her." After saying that, she left. Zhang Junbao stood there and felt very lonely and thought, although the world was big, there was no place for him to stay. He stood in front of Zhu Yuan's ashes for a very long time and then started walking away. After walking for a few meters, he went back and carried his teacher's iron buckets away. In the middle of nowhere, this young, skinny man walks lonely to the west, ever so sad and lonesome. After walking half a day, he reached the borders of the Hebei province. The city of Xiangyang was not far from here and the Shaolin monks were not be seen. This was due to Reverend Wuxia. He told the monks that Zhang Junbao was seen in the east, so all the monks went to the east to look for him. So the farther Zhang Junbao traveled to the west, the bigger the distance he put between himself and his pursuers. This afternoon, he reached a tall mountain. It was very green and luxuriant, the forest was thick. And the mountain looked very majestic. On inquiry, this mountain was called Wudang. Zhang Junbao rested on a rock nearby and saw a man and a woman walking by. They seemed to be local farmers. The two looked ever so intimate and it seemed that they were just newlyweds. The wife was murmuring something and she seemed to be scolding her husband. The husband lowered his head and didn't make a sound. The wife said, "You're a grown man, why can't you support your own family? Why go to sister and brother-in-law?" That scene was humiliating enough, wasn't it? We have hands and feet, we can support ourselves, even if we have to eat simple food. Just as long as we're happy and carefree. The husband just nodded and HMMD. The wife continued, "Besides death, there is nothing we should worry about. Do we really have to rely on others?" The husband didn't dare to say anything back, his face was swelling up. The words of the wife were getting through to Zhang Junbao and he thought that she was right. He stared at their backs and thought those words over and over again. Suddenly he saw the husband standing up straight and saying something. Both husband and wife laughed heartily. It seemed that the husband realized that he must take care of himself instead of relying on other people. Zhang Junbao thought, Miss Guo said her older sister was very bad-tempered and often scolded other people for no particular reason. She also told me to just put up with her. I'm a grown man, why should I put up with that kind of attitude? If that husband and wife cling on to their self-respect, so should I, Zhang Junbao. Why do I have to put up with anyone's bad temper? He made up his mind and carried the 2 buckets up and went up Mount Wudang. He found a cave and lived in it, living on water from springs and fruit from the forest. He started studying Zhuyang Zhenjing. Many years later, he realized something. Master Damo originated from India. Even if he knew Chinese, it would be very basic. The language of Zhuyang Zhenjing is very deep and profound. It is definitely not written by foreigners. Probably some Shaolin monk created this and used the name of Master Damo. And this monk wrote Zhuyang Zhenjing inside the Lankavatara Sutra. But this was just his deduction and he felt still somewhat puzzled by it. Zhu Yuan taught Zhang Junbao Zhuyang Zhenjing for some time, so he was able to remember 50–60% of it. More than 10 years later, his internal strength reached a very high level, and he started to study Taoist manuscripts and scriptures. He managed to learn a lot from the cultivation of qi in these scriptures. On one particular day, he looked up in the sky and saw some clouds and looked down and saw the flowing water. Zhang Junbao seemed to have realized something. He went back to his cave and pondered on his discovery 7 days and 7 nights. Finally he understood it completely and comprehended the martial arts theory that gentleness can overcome fierceness. Yiru Kegang. He laughed to his heart's content. This laughter produced a top martial arts master. He created a martial arts style based on Taoist theories and, Juyang Zhenjing. He founded the famous and glorious Wudang school. Later when he roamed about, he saw 3 peaks reaching up into the sky. He changed his name to Sanfeng and became China's martial arts mysterious master, namely, Zhang Sanfeng.